everybody. It's 3 p.m. and it's time for dinner with Nanny Bubby. I have a new program here, so I'm waiting for it to load. There we go. And now I need to make this bigger, so you'll bear with me for just a moment as I do that. There we go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. So welcome into Nanny Bubby's kitchen. I'm so excited to have all the gatherers join me, and over, just little by little, everybody comes and finds us. So I am using a new program so that you can see more of the kitchen at a wider view instead of just on my phone. But in order to talk with you and see who's here, I have to be able to look at my phone and see your questions and see your, anything that you might have to say. So I am turning this on now, and I have to do it. I have to do it right in front of you, and I'm really sorry. And let's see who's here. Laura Grau is here. Joy Gallo. Hey, Joy. I haven't seen you in a while. And of course, Roseanne is here. So let me tell you what I am doing. And I'm welcoming you into my kitchen because I am about to cook a recipe for the very first time, which, usually everything that I cook for you, I have always, experimented with on my own. But what happened to me is I got turned on to the master class series, as you heard me mention. Probably hey Arlene, nice to see you. Arlene Blute is here as well. I went and ordered the masterclass series because I had heard this advertisement. Okay, I got sucked into an ad about Alice Waters, who coined the term farm to table. And I thought to myself, how can I be Nanny Bubby and never have heard of Alice Waters in my life? I have to buy this and I have to watch her. And I fell in love with her. She was amazing and I really, really enjoyed it. But what I didn't know when I bought that masterclass series is that it wasn't just Alice Waters, but the masterclass series, if you've seen it advertised on Facebook, is about everything. Sarah Blakely, who invented Spanx, she does an entrepreneurial class. If you're into yoga, there are people that do yoga classes or Pilates classes, and these are like the great masters that are well known all over the world. Well, when I was done watching Alice Waters, I happened to, it scrolled up, and the next person on the list for me in the cooking area was Yotam Ottolenghi. Now, that is a mouthful. I don't care what area of the world you're from. Yotam Ottolenghi is, and most of the time when I say, have you ever heard of Yotam Ottolenghi? And they're like, is that a person? Is that a thing? Is that a place? I mean, that is a mouthful, right? And hey, Karen Basher, so nice to have you here. Wow, haven't seen you in a while. I know you watch without tuning in live, but nice to see you here live today. So let me tell you about Yotam Ottolenghi. These are just two of his cookbooks. First one, Jerusalem. He is from Jerusalem. This is where he was raised. And what he loves is Middle Eastern cooking. And this is how you spell his name, if you can see it, Ottolenghi. First name, Yotam. So Yotam Ottolenghi, and this is his cookbook, Simple. He did two other books that I'm aware of. There could be more. Plenty and Plenty More, I think it is. And I, having received these books, opened them up and looked at them, and I wanted to be interested, but I just couldn't. There were things and spices in these cookbooks that I could not figure out what to do or how to do it. And I'm a very visual learner, so to open up this book and just read a recipe without understanding what cumin was, without understanding what coriander seed was, without really knowing, and I don't have a lot of experience with those Far Eastern and Middle Eastern spices. I have been a Western European cook most of my life, and so it's only now that I'm venturing out to these other spices. Well, don't you know that he had the Master Series, and I was able to watch him put together these recipes and explain cumin and explain coriander, and I got so very interested in all of it that over this last weekend I began to go out and want to cook for Sunday. Everybody was coming over for Sunday. His mezza spread, and mezza spread is basically hummus and several different, like you might call them dips, they call them mezza spreads. And what I got myself caught up into, believe it or not, is thank God I had his videos to refer to, but I printed out the course outline and I said, I'm gonna make hummus, mahamra, and peas spread with marinated feta. What I wasn't prepared for is that, hey Teresa, thanks for being here. Teresa's here. I have to look down at my phone because this new platform I'm using doesn't show me, or actually I can't read that far to know who's here and who's saying what. But every recipe like hummus, first you had to make tahini sauce, then you had to make the garlic confit, and you know, each dish, literally on Saturday, I was on my feet tasking away for 15 hours, and I thought, oh my God, what did I get myself into? And it was a lot. I will admit it was a lot, but if you saw the pictures of those mezza spreads that I served on Sunday, you know how beautiful it ended up. I had to make my own pomegranate molasses, and for the pea spread, I had to make my own marinated feta. I had to soak the chickpeas. For the hummus, it was really, really a lot. But when I was done, I absolutely fell in love with what I learned. And so now, since I'm taking a week off, I wanted, except for next Tuesday when I'm going to be cooking with Colette Brown, but I really wanted to share with all of you sort of a in-person step into my kitchen to watch me cook something for the very first time. So I have never cooked this. I'm really going to have to read the recipe very closely, and I'm just gonna go through it with you and talk about it with you. Hey Lucy, so happy to have you here. I love that you've retired because you're here every day now. And Kelly Marshall is here. Hey Kelly, nice to see you. And Doug Eischer's here. I always miss Doug. He's one of our male gatherers that always shows up. So hey Doug, so happy to have you. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna first start with the spice. And the very first spice is cumin seed. Now I do not have a lot of experience with cumin seed, but what I learned over the weekend is how to toast it and how to grind it in a pestle and mortar. And I will tell you, this pestle and mortar, which I bought on Thursday last week, has become my most favorite kitchen tool. Makes me almost as happy as using my tomato slicer, right? So let's start out. And the way that you are able to tell how your cumin seeds or any seeds are actually toasted is that you've got them in the pan, you're gonna shake them on the pan, and then the minute you can smell them, the minute you can smell the aroma coming out of them, and very likely what also happens is that a little bit of smoke starts to come off of them, that is how you know that they are toasted. You don't want to go any farther than that, and that holds true for the nuts that you may toast. Like you might chop walnuts, or you might chop almonds or pistachio nuts, or hazelnuts. You always want to wait for the hazelnuts. Hey there, Cynthia Berman, thanks for being here. So we're talking about cumin, and what I'm doing today is cooking a recipe from the Master Series of Yotam Ottolenghi. For those of you who are just tuning in, that sounds, is it a person, a place, or a thing? This is him, Yotam Ottolenghi. He's from Jerusalem, and I am learning how to do these Middle Eastern spices and these Middle Eastern dishes, and I'm taking you, all of you, along for the journey. So I can absolutely smell this cumin. The aroma of it is reaching up to me. I'm gonna turn it off. That's how quick it was. And let me move this over so that you can see. I am going to, now this recipe calls for it to be just lightly ground. So I'm gonna take the cumin seed, and the recipe actually called for caraway seed, but I am not prepared to move from cumin to caraway. I'm really enjoying learning about cumin seed and the aroma. Everybody says, even Alice Waters says it was her favorite spice. And for me, it just wasn't. And I'm not sure it's my favorite spice even yet, but I'm starting to pull it together. So this is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go into the mortar and pestle. Oh, you babe. Okay, and I'm just gonna lightly ground it. And you know when you do that smell oh my gosh, you can really see it. So you can see some of it is ground, some of it is still in seed. But you know what's so great about this is that there's something about food that really makes everything believable and reminds you how we got from cavemen to here. I mean, there were things that, you know, they didn't have McCormick grounding, you know, all their seeds for them back in the day, and they had to learn how to do it. And it just brings, you know, when I use my food processor and then I also use a mortar and a pestle, I just feel like the old traditions with the new technology melds itself. And you know, cavemen didn't have Facebook to talk about everything with, so I feel like we bring it all together. So hey Heather, thanks for being here. Hey Heather. Oh, Lene Hoge is here. Lene, I always miss you, but I'm always so happy when you show up. So this hair, for some reason, is getting into my mouth as I speak, and I don't know why. Okay, so what the recipe calls for 4 tablespoons of olive oil, but this is the garlic confit oil that I made for the hummus over the weekend, and I decided, since this is a garlic oil, that I'm going to use this oil. So I'm going to use this instead. It's already flavored. It's got a little thyme. I just don't think it could hurt. And I'm going to pour out about 4 tablespoons. It's an aromatic oil from garlic and thyme and a little bit of sage. There we go. And you know, my girlfriend Lisa and I always laugh and tease that every recipe that Ina Garden puts out there starts with a pound of butter. And I always say in my best Yiddish accent, and why shouldn't it? Why shouldn't every recipe start with a pound of butter? But Yotam Ottolenghi, every recipe starts with 12 cloves of garlic, honestly. It's just crazy. And you think to yourself, am I going to like float away from all that garlic? But the truth is that the way that he does it and the other things that he mixes with it tends to take that garlic and really pull it down. So as an example, as this is heating up, let's just see, just throw a little water in there. You know, that's how to tell if your oil is hot enough. Throw a little water in, and if it doesn't hit you in the face, it's not hot enough. So let's just give it a few more minutes. But what I have, his recipe calls for this to be sliced, for it to be sliced garlic. But I personally do not feel that, as you know, I've said many times, nobody wants a slice of garlic in their mouth when they're eating. And so I really believe in mincing all of my garlic. So this is 8 cloves of garlic that I minced up prior to you getting here, and it is starting to sizzle. And along with this, we are going to take 2 Fresno chilies, which I will show you in just a second here. I hope you can see this. I actually believe you can. Here's the recipe. There we go. Let me just pull this around a little bit. Can you see that? You can. Okay, perfect. So these are Fresno chilies, these red Fresno chilies right here. And the recipe does call for 2 of them. I'm looking for this. I want to make sure I don't want this to burn. The garlic to burn, so you can see this a little bit. I can move that just slightly out. There we go. I think you can see that better. Can you see that? And look at how wide the view is here. So I'm so happy I found this. So we're going to take these chilies and we are going to slice them. Now the thing about this is that this will make it very spicy. But along with this, we're going to throw in a lot of tomatoes. I've got 6 Roma tomatoes here. Now the seeds, as you can see, these seeds make it much, much spicier. And you can keep the seeds from going in if you'd like. There's a few, I'll get rid of them. But I've decided that I'm gonna just cook it the way he did, which is throwing all the seeds in. I don't usually cook with spice. I usually, everything is much milder in my household. But what I wanna do is I wanna use the chilies as he did and the seeds. Hey Eva Kalick, thanks for being here. Welcoming everybody here. I have to use my phone to do it because of the new technology that we're using. Okay, so to keep myself from coughing, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to lower the temperature on this, and I'm just going to read from this. So we put in the garlic and the Fresno chilies, and for those that just joined us, I'm doing a recipe from Yotam Ottolenghi. that I found on the course outline, excuse me, from the masterclass series with him. Okay, about 3 minutes, and then we're going to add ancho chilies. Now here's the thing, I could not find ancho chilies, could not. I don't even know that they exist. Excuse me just a minute, I need to get the smoke from that. I need to just get a little bit of water here for me. I love that, but you've got to have a glass of water when you're cooking with chilies all around you so that you don't choke it up. And really, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of a cough. Actually, Yotam Ottolenghi in the Master Series said, when that happens, you know you're doing the right thing. So the only thing I don't want to do is cough into the pot, right? I mean, we're still in COVID, so got to be careful of those things. Okay, so, oh, everybody went away. I don't know how to get, there we go, they're back. Okay, Eva's here, Joy is here, Heather is here. Okay, so I could not find ancho chilies, but I did find these chipotle chilies. And I think that they're very smoky, and I think that you can smell the smokiness of them, and we're just going to take them. We're gonna take about, oh, maybe 4 of them, and we're gonna just dice those up, and we're gonna put them right into, these are very hard, actually. And I'm not sure about the seeds on this. I probably will not put all the seeds in, because that might really give me a spice that I might want to do without. Now these are dried, but as we put in the tomatoes and the sauce, we're going to find that these are going to actually come back to life. We will hydrate them, and I think that will be great. So I keep everything, you know, I keep on my countertop what I call a compost bucket. Now I actually do not have a composter, but I'm practicing because I think that what I'm going to be doing next in my life is composting for my garden. But regardless, it's rather than turning around and always going to the trash can, if you keep a little bucket like this, and I put a little plastic produce bag in it, and then when I'm all done making whatever I am, I just simply pick up the plastic bag and throw that into the garbage. So there's a little cooking hint for all of you. Okay, anybody have any questions this far? Anybody? No? I'm looking. Okay, so I'm going to put this in front of me so I can see a little bit better. So, all right, so from here, we are going to add the seeds, the cumin seeds. Now this calls for caraway, but I have chosen to replace that in the recipe with the cumin seed, and frankly, he said if you don't have caraway, you could use cumin. So I thought, well, I haven't really gotten the full experience of cumin yet with everything that I have done, so I am going to use cumin, and I really can smell that. It smells just absolutely wonderful. So yes, you're good. Cynthia does have a composter in her garden, and it doesn't smell, which is great. I'm worried about doing that in the suburbs here, about it smelling, so I've proceeded with caution. Okay, we're going to stir that often, and we're going to add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. So here we go. Whoop, that's gone on the floor. We'll have to pick it up later. And we're just going to 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, the really great thing about what Ottolenghi does with tomato paste is, if you can see it, he actually cooks it down. In other words, he caramelizes it a little bit, and he helps it get all that acid out of the tomato paste. And so we'll cook this down just a little bit. I think I might add just a little bit of garlic confit oil to the pan, just to add just a little bit of flavor, and to help it get just a little bit more I don't know, hydrated, if you will, as we cook it down. And we really want that paste to caramelize, to turn really dark. I can hear it sizzling away. And that's the really great thing about tomato paste, is that you really want to make sure, absolutely sure, that that you cook out all of the acid of the tomato. And in Italian cooking, I think we add tomato paste into the already existing tomato sauce, or you know, the can of tomato sauce, or the tomatoes that we put together. But in Middle Eastern cooking, the tomato paste is actually, I gotta step aside so that those chilies don't make me choke here, that you actually caramelize the tomato paste before you add all the tomatoes into it. So that is starting to cook down. Can you see it now? Let me hold this up. Can you see? We've got some caramelization going on. Cook it. Away. Go. I'll tell you, the colors in this are so absolutely beautiful. And what we're doing with this is we're going to make, this will be the tomato base for a spicy salmon that we're going to pop into the oven. So I think that the next stop, let me get some water here, is, whoops, I got the wrong one. The next stop here is, okay, we're going to add the fresh tomatoes. So here are about 6 diced fresh tomatoes. You can hear it sizzling. Can you hear that? It's so amazing. And here are 2 tomatoes that I did not cut yet, because I wanted you to see how I dice them. So it's very simple. It's really no big deal. You probably don't need me to even tell you this, because most of you are outstanding cooks and you're foodies and you know, but I slice them in half and then I just take out the core, just like that, make a little V, pull it out, make 4 slices in this, there we go, and then just slice in chunks and dices. Now, normally I seed a tomato, but in this case, I am using the seeds and also the inner juices. I'm leaving those in the tomato because I really think that the extra water in the tomatoes, which you don't want in things like when you make heirloom tomato pies, which was amazing yesterday, wasn't it? The juice is not really a good thing. So again, right down the middle, take out the core here, kind of slice it so that the core stays in one side. So Lene is watching, Eva is watching. Any questions so far? Anybody have any questions? I'd love to know. Let me know. Happy to answer them. Now, one thing I always want to say is that I am baffled as to why, I'm sure there's a rhyme and a reason for this, why recipes, if there needs to be water in a recipe, why that is not listed as an ingredient on the ingredients list. Because frequently it is only in the narrative. That is where I have found it. And when it is in the narrative, if you do not, I'm so sorry about this, but this hair keeps getting in my mouth. If you, you can miss it and you do not know why the recipe is not turning out. And in this case, in the narrative, it is add 1 cup of water. So interestingly enough, there we go. Interestingly enough, there is an espresso cake that you can find online on the Food Network by Giotto. What kind of pan are you using? You love it. So this is a cast iron pan. I got it at Williams-Sonoma years ago. The very top of this pan is absolutely gorgeous. I actually shall show it to you. It's right down here. So look at the top of this pan. Isn't that gorgeous? Let me take my hand off of it. Do you see that? Isn't that beautiful? So I make a frittata or a frittata in this pan, and I always put the cap just at the side. It looks so beautiful. The handle is beautiful, but gets very hot. But this, and I do not know the brand of this. It's probably on the bottom, but it is not a brand that anybody that I've ever been familiar with before. So, okay, let me close this. All right. Okay, so piece of paper towel, and we'll wipe off the juices. So this is now calling for drives you crazy. Yes, it drives me crazy too. So I was telling you about this cake with Giotto. I made the cake and the cake didn't rise and I could not figure it out. So I ran to the grocery store, got everything I needed to make it a second time, and I made it a second time and it still didn't rise. And I couldn't figure out what I had done wrong because I had made that cake before and I never had that trouble, and I was so frustrated. So I went, I'm not going to wipe this away. I'm going to put this behind my ear because it's making me crazy. I'm so sorry about that. So what happened is I just kept throwing these cakes away, and I decided I was going to wake up the next morning and make it again. And sure enough, with a fresh face or fresh mind, I looked at the recipe and I was reading through everything like word for word for word, and the very last thing in the narrative, and 1 cup of water. And I'm like, oh my God, this is nuts. Why was that not listed on the ingredient? Because I just don't know anybody that wouldn't miss that. So yes, and this is saying the same thing. This recipe says add the tomatoes, sugar. Now I'm not using sugar because, as you know, I broke up with sugar. I tried last year and I was not as successful as I'd hoped, but I am going to use honey. And the reason that I am using honey instead of sugar is, number one, this is all natural. This is lavender honey from a friend of mine's aunt's garden. And how bad could something that nature makes, like bees, that is not processed, how bad that could that be on your blood sugar? So I will either, in any recipe that calls for sugar, especially when it comes to tomatoes, I will replace that sweetness to kill the acid with either honey or orange juice. And you just have to know what it is that you're cooking. But I mean, how bad could real honey be? Could real honey be in a recipe? It could not be bad for you. So that's what I did. Okay, so we added the salt, a teaspoon of salt, maybe a little more, just to help cut the acid. Salt is great for everything. The garlic, bring to a simmer, then lower the heat. Medium, cook at a low simmer, stirring occasionally until the tomatoes have broken down and the sauce is thickened slightly, about 12 minutes. Stir in the cilantro, but you know, like I have 2 issues, one with sugar and the other is with cilantro. It's a very controversial herb. I don't know why, but I happen to be one of the few who just cannot eat cilantro. I just cannot tolerate it. So I use parsley as a substitute. You could use basil, you could use, I don't know, whatever else you might have, but I am going to slice up the parsley here so that we can get it into the pan. And I think at the very end of this it says, and 1 cup of water. So while that is cooking, let me just get this over here. I have reserved some parsley for afterwards, because we're going to throw it on after the salmon cooks. I'm going to throw some parsley on, and let's see, stir in the cilantro. Okay, preheat the oven. Well, somewhere I missed where it said put in 1 cup of water. Yeah, there it is. Add the fresh tomatoes, sugar, and 1 cup of water. So there we go. Let me throw in the water. There we go. My dishwasher's on the blink. I keep calling the appliance man, and he finally just now called me back. Okay, so here we go. We're going to bring this to a simmer, and while we do, I'm going to talk to you for just a minute about the tahini sauce. So once this cooks, we're going to put it into the pan, and then I'm going to season. Let's see, I don't like the taste or smell of cilantro. Wow, Teresa, like you and I are blood sisters about that, right? We love something other than cilantro. It's funny because those that like cilantro, like my mother loves cilantro, and she cannot understand why I don't. I just can't. I don't have a problem with coriander though, with coriander seed or ground coriander. It does not smell or taste like cilantro to me, so I'm okay with it. But with everything else, I just can't do it, yeah. Okay, so here is something that I made over the weekend, and I'm going to use it today, which is tahini sauce. So tahini sauce is going to be the topping for this salmon. So once it comes out of the oven, I'm going to finish it with this tahini sauce. I made it to go on top of the hummus. and it is a little bit thick. And what I am doing right now, because it's been in the refrigerator, and tahini is like a peanut butter, and I'm just going to add a little bit of ice water to thin it out, and not warm water or table, room temperature water, because that actually causes it to, it warms it up too much. So this is coming to a nice simmer now, if you can see that. Okay, there we go. So Teresa, when you receive your book from Ariane Resnick, please let me know. I'm very anxious to maybe have you take a picture and put it in the Gather group and show us. So let me show you how thin this tahini sauce should be. So when you take a spoon and it just rolls right off the spoon like that, that is absolutely the right consistency. So we're gonna do that. Now tomorrow, we are going to do cocktail Friday on Thursday, because I am leaving on Friday, and we are going to make Cute in Coral, which was Ariane Resnick's answer to Pretty in Pink. She did Cute in Coral, and let me just tell you what some of those ingredients are. So let me just do this real fast. So we've got 12 raspberries that we're going to use. We're going to use 2 ounces of vodka. We're going to use vanilla syrup, which I'll post the recipe, but I suspect that vanilla extract will be okay. 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice, a dash of lemon extract, or more lemon juice, I'm guessing, and a lemon wheel for garnish. Now, 2 things about that. Remember to bring who you love to have a cocktail with, your husband, anybody that you love to have a nice, end of the week cocktail with. And just like the last time we did this, Julie Neal won a book. I'm giving away, these are the 3 Melissa's cookbooks that I received, which I absolutely adore. And this is the Great Pepper Cookbook. So who wouldn't want that? So tomorrow, sign on and let me know that you brought a friend. And when I know that you brought a friend, you qualify to win this book. And if Julie's here, she gets to pick the winning number. But if Teresa's here, who is here every day and wins a book, she can call out the number and I will tell you who won. So that's great. And if neither Teresa or Julie are here, I'll randomly pick somebody to call out the number. So come tomorrow with a friend. Let me know you brought a friend. You will qualify then to win the Great Pepper book. So I'm always excited to give something fabulous away. All right, on to the next step here. I know this is taking a lot of time, and I suspected it to, but it's the only way. I just could not leave for the week, because last night I saw him cook this recipe, and what happens to me is that when I watch a video like I did the mezza spreads, I had to make them. I wake up in the middle of the night and I cannot get these recipes out of my head. And I absolutely have to make them. And so I am not going to have an opportunity to make this recipe for an entire week, because I'm going to be gone and I will miss all of you. And so I absolutely had to make it today. So you are working with me sort of very rustically in this kitchen, how I go through making these recipes. So Cynthia said the cocktail sounds great. I'm going to go buy some raspberries. And speaking of cocktails, by the way, the last time we made cocktails, nobody could find cardamom pods, but I found them finally. So that last recipe that we made, nobody could find cardamom pods, but here they are. Can you see that? And they are by McCormick. They are organic, which I think we should have if we've got the pods. And I found them at Albertsons. So wherever you are, oh boy, you can see all that, right? There's the cardamom pods, and put that in the drink that we made last time, which somebody remind me what the name of that was, because I don't actually remember what it was. So this is what we're going to make tomorrow, Cute in Coral with raspberries and vodka, so stand by. Okay, so let's get this into the pot that we are using. We're going to bake the salmon. So let me pull out the salmon for everybody to see. Now I'm going to make sauteed greens tonight to eat with this salmon, but what I really want to know is that from all of you, when you see this recipe tonight, what would you make as an accompanying side dish? What would you make? Tell me. I mean, everybody, first of all, you have to make what's in your fridge already or buy something. So this is a 2-pound salmon fillet. I asked to have the skin taken off the back. I am going to season this with salt only because there is so much heat that is in this because of the chipotle chili peppers and also the Fresno chilies. I just don't think that this needs any more heat. And I'm also putting into this now, just as we turn it off and get ready to spread it in, we're going to put in half a teaspoon of my very favorite spice, right? The smoked paprika, sweet smoked paprika. And what that does to this sauce is you can see just the colors. It turns it very, very, very rich red. And the tomato paste, which also really caramelized up, and everything is turning these beautiful colors. Okay, so hey there, Susie. Nice to have you here. Lucy said asparagus and a wedge salad. Okay, I like that idea. Who else has got some ideas of what would be a great accompaniment for this? Okay, let us move the salmon and let me get this fabulous roasting dish, and I am going to need, I'm going to go with rubber gloves just because my pot holders are all the way over on the other side of the kitchen. And we are going to take this and we are going to put it, now I just want to make sure I'm not missing a step, so you'll forgive me because I think that part of the way that this is done. Okay, so we are going to take this, we're going to put it all the way, there we go, there we go, everything went in, beautiful. Got to stick away, can you see all that smoke? Anybody else have any ideas of what would be a great accompaniment to this? So let me show you how this spreads out all onto the bottom. And we are going to take this, can you see this? Look at that, isn't that gorgeous? Let me pull it down so that you can see. It's absolutely gorgeous. Let's see if that's a better view. And we're going to take the salmon fillet and we are just gonna lay this beautiful, beautiful skinned salmon fillet right over the top. Really, this recipe was just not all that complicated compared to what I went through this weekend. And I was able to prep a few things. Actually, things that are really complicated feel less complicated to me when I'm doing them for you. So, oh, Lisa says gorgeous. Yes, and I don't know, Lisa, if you heard me say that we have a joke that everything on a garden cook starts with a pound of butter, and I always say, and why shouldn't it? Who shouldn't love butter, right? Spread love like butter. That everything that Yotam Ottolenghi makes starts with 10 cloves of garlic. And so, boy, let me tell you, you can really smell and you can really taste this. So let me see. Lucy is saying it does. It looks absolutely delicious. And I will plate this up and show it to you. So the way that we are going to finish this is we are going to take, and I will show a picture of it tonight when I'm done, is we're going to cook this for 10 minutes in about a 400-degree oven. And then we're going to return it into the oven, and we're going to make a paprika oil, which I didn't reserve any garlic to make it, so I'm going to have to make more garlic. Oh my God, right? I'm going to have to make more garlic and put a little bit of paprika in it, and then just cook until the oil just begins to bubble and the garlic is fragrant, about 1 to 2 minutes, and then we're going to pour that over the top of the salmon. But before we do that, we're going to take the tahini sauce and we are going to just drizzle that tahini sauce over the top, and just make a beautiful, beautiful topping. Sorry, it is the smoke from all the peppers that get into your throat. It's amazing though. And like Yotam Ottolenghi says in the masterclass, a good cough really means that all of your seasonings are really coming together. So that's it. It's as far as I can take you right now. And I will definitely post pictures of this beautiful end to this beautiful, I mean, it brings tears to my eyes. I think that, you know, when you look at all the things that come out of the earth, the colors, the flavors, and the smells, and first we eat with our eyes, then we eat with our mouth. Well, really, first we eat with our eyes, then we eat with our noses, and then we eat with our mouth. And, you know, it's the smells of an invitation that prep us for what's to come. So as we step into the matriarchness of our lives, of wanting to be there for our families and friends, and being the one that brings beauty and love into their lives, remember that choosing things that might take a little bit longer to do, trust me, I hated everybody Saturday night at 9 o'clock at night when I'd been on my feet for 15 hours. I swear to God, I was so done. I thought, what did I get myself into? But honestly, when everybody showed up on Sunday, it was, everybody's eyes were dazzled by the colors. Everybody's noses were dazzled by the smells coming out of the oven, because I was cooking a mango chutney chicken, and there was just smiles everywhere. The children were excited. Everybody just had this excitement surrounding them, and I felt like I was bringing just a feeling of continuity from the earth. It was my job to bring people and the family to a connection with the earth and food and togetherness and love and gathering. So grow, cook, gather, it's what we all do, and I'm so happy to share this moment with all of you. So let's see, yes, garlic and butter. Everything is garlic and butter, and olive oil. So anyway, to all of you, I wish you a great week. Tomorrow will be our cute in coral. I will post the recipe so that you can all go shopping, but it really didn't look too hard to get, honestly. This is raspberries, vodka, lemon, vanilla. I think we can all handle that. If you want to get a dash of lemon extract, you can, or we could just use an extra, maybe we could actually use lemon zest, I think, instead of the extract, and vanilla syrup. Let's see how you make that. Let me tell you that right now. 1 cup room temperature filtered water, a 1/2 cup coconut sugar, 1/2 cup honey, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and the scrapings of a vanilla bean. So that doesn't sound too hard, but we could kind of cheat it a little bit. Instead of coconut sugar, we could use a little honey, I think. Honey and lemon and vanilla, I think that sounds really good. So that's it for today, everybody. I love that you were here. I love that we're gonna have a cocktail together. Don't forget, somebody tomorrow who brings a friend and lets us know will win this great pepper cookbook. So I hope it's you. So be there or be square tomorrow, 3 p.m. Cocktails with Nanny Bubby. That's it, everybody. Love you, and remember, all together now on the count of 3, go out and spread love like butter. Butter. Okay, so now what you have to do is you have to watch me pull this digital machine towards me, because I cannot reach. I should probably do this before I say spread love like butter, because it would be so easy to end it. So maybe I'll do that. I'll bring it forward. This is a new technique, right? I'm learning. Bring it forward, look you all in the eye, and say, go out and spread love like butter. There we go.